Hi everybody, not Sporbat here, and welcome to Minecart and Redstone, Minecraft. So I decided to try out Minecraft, and it's actually a pretty cool game. So I thought I'd post some videos on it. So we're going to start today with a automatic furnace setup that I have built and designed. It took quite some time. It still needs a couple small touch-ups. I still need one more manual override in a certain spot for our output minecart loader, but that's not a big deal. Um, yeah, so what we'll do is we're going to start up top here. Our furnaces are down below our feet, way down there. Uh, this is Nether Wart Farm right here, so that's not part of it, but down here. Our furnaces are way below down under here. There they are down there. There's 5 of them. I actually have capacity for 9. I could put 4 more hoppers here, 4 more hoppers here, and underneath 4 more furnaces. We have a block of redstone powering our rails here, and we have a rail network going up and across along the top of all the hoppers with lava buckets on this side or any kind of fuel source you have. And on this side here is our product to be smelted. And then we have a hopper collection system underneath. You can see a hopper right there that goes over to the side, and we have an output there underneath. We'll go through all of that, but we'll start up top here, show you how it works. I'll show you all the switches and the redstone up top here first, and then we'll get started on using our system. So don't worry about this. This is our cat farm up above our head. We can take that stone out of there. And yeah, and bone meal. I have a composter here on top of this hopper, and it goes just into here. And the rest is a cat farm. There's 2 beds, cats and boats, and every time you sleep, your cats bring you treats, and most of it gets grabbed by hoppers. I think it's a 3x3 or 4x4 spot of hoppers here. Like, it's quite a lot of hoppers for 2 boats full of cats. Anyhow, that's what that's for. So that's why that's here. Uh, so okay, here's our furnace. Controls all across here and over to here. Crafting table if you need it. Picture of a creeper on the wall. All right, so this is our manual override. We'll talk about that last because we don't need it right now. Manual on and off. So if you wanted to turn the furnace on and make those minecarts go, all you do is come over here and turn this on. And actually, it is on right now. Let's shut it off, and our minecart should stop. Okay, now our furnaces are off. We have no product in the furnaces anymore. Our minecarts are empty. Well, this one isn't. This one has lava in it. I have pre-stocked our fuel side. Yes, so we're ready to start smelting here. So this is a manual override. Turns the furnace minecarts on and off on the top there. Now, these are on-off buttons, switches, sorry, for these hoppers. This hopper, and this hopper all have on and off switches. Reason being is you don't want your shulker box, once you empty it into the hopper here, sucked into the system when you smash it to go pick it back up. So you turn that off, take your shulker box here. Now we have a shulker box here with 3 stacks of cobblestone, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So make sure your hopper thing is off. Well, you can have it on, doesn't matter. But I always start with it off. Place down the thing. You'll see it'll start emptying. It will empty it into this one, but that's as far as it's going to go. It's not going to get into the chest here till we come over and turn on the hopper. And now it is loading our things here. You won't see it in the chest because the hopper with minecart grabs it so fast you don't even see it flash. Like you can see this one. Well, if you have a hopper line, you'll see them flash through the hoppers. Just ding and it's gone. But since we backed it up a bit, it's in there. So, okay, you've seen our minecart there, just fire, and now what has happened has one entire stack has piled up into the minecart. I have a minecart loader down there with a hopper right there, a comparator, another comparator, a block, redstone torch, and sticky piston with a block of glass. Now minecarts, the way they work is when the minecart goes that way, just like it did, it will go past that block and keep going. But when it goes to go downhill and past, and there's a block there, like that, you see, it stops. So it's a one-way minecart system, loading system. And what it does is it's loading this minecart up to one stack, one full stack in the minecart. That's what I have this hopper set to. I had it set for a full minecart, but why not just use one full stack? Because then it'll go across here, and as long as there's even half a stack or a quarter of a stack, that would be enough to dump one in each hopper here as it goes by. So I got it set at one stack. All right, so that's how you do shulker boxes here. So now our shulker box is empty. We would flip the switch off, take our pickaxe, break our shulker box. Now, oh my God, where did it go? Right? That's what always scares me. Now, it's not in that hopper, but look at this. Here it is here in this hopper. So we can grab our shulker box out, and we're done. And we can leave this off. Might as well lock the hopper. That way nothing gets sucked into the system randomly. And you could do the exact same thing right here with this hopper being locked and this one because the block is actually touching both. So this is the exact same setup here, and this is the lava side. And yes, there's signs here, pictures. And these are trap chests. So once you open it and put something in, the minecart with hopper is going to grab it out though. But if you have, say, stacks of items in here, let's grab a half. If we were to put a half stack there, turn our hopper on, so now our hopper's feeding the chest. The moment we open it, it stops putting cobblestone into the chest. You see? The moment we close the lid, then there we go. So trap chests work like that. If you have a trap chest on top of a regular hopper, like this one, then if you have the lid open and there's an empty hopper underneath, this would all stay. Once you close the lid, then items start filtering out of trap chests, or into, whichever way, in or out. Now we have to redesign this system. We need to actually have these hoppers going into the chest. They're just going into straight into the minecart down below, down there, that fuel minecart, instead of into the chest. So this doesn't actually fill the chest. So not like this one. This one actually fills the chest. So what I need to do is I actually need to put our shulker box here, hoppers, up higher. I think I'll put 2 here and leave these ones maybe. I don't know, because I've got a little pathway here where we can come down here and check out the old furnace and how she's working. All right, so now we also have some cobblestone in our inventory, so we can also go and put our cobblestone in this chest here. And that would also work the system. So you can do it 2 ways. Shulker box full of cobblestone or sand or whatever you're smelting, or just manually put items in the chest. Now just remember that I'll show you the minecart loader here. We'll just get down here. Come on. We'll go stand on our piece of glass here. Where's our piece of glass? Oh, unless I covered it. Did I cover it? I must have. Which one can... Oh no, I have a redstone torch on it, that's why. Okay, well it doesn't matter. Our minecart could do its whatever thing here. So the way this works, now you can see as it's working, I'm in the way. Of course I'm in the way. Can I maybe stand there? No, I can't because... Okay, well whatever. So anyhow, the way this works is there is a comparator right here reading this hopper. And then that comparator goes into that comparator, which reads the minecart. This one's reading the minecart, and this one is sending a signal to this comparator. So when they're equal, which means when this minecart has 1 full stack in it, which is the required amount of items here. I don't know if that's the actual right amount. I just put 1 stack in. It seems to work. It'll stop here and wait, and then once the minecart's full, this repeater will turn on, and that redstone torch will turn off. This piston gets pulled back, the block gets pulled back, and the minecart gets let go. So that's how that works. So you can put any amount of items in here for different redstone strength signals to fill your minecart fuller or less, whichever. So now we gotta get this minecart here going. Oh, no, that's not gonna work, of course. Obviously not. Okay, we have to come up here. We stopped our minecart. So there's our manual override now. What this does is I'll show you what it does on the backside, but that manual override pulls this block back automatically, constantly, no matter what. That block will be the other direction. And the reason being for that is then our minecart just constantly goes and goes and goes and goes and doesn't stop and get loaded, so that we can empty it completely at the end. Because once we have less than one stack, which is what we had in the hopper there, once we have less than one stack, if we have a half stack of items we only need to smelt, that's not going to work, because then this minecart's still going to just sit here and wait for the full amount of stack of items to kick it back out again. So there's a manual override switch so that it, no matter what, you could have one item in there and it's going to go, or 0 items in there and it'll just keep going and going and going by itself till our furnace is done, and then it will at the end it will shut this rail off and the minecart will stop even with this on, but that's only once we're done smelting. I have an automatic on-off switch for the furnace that senses when we're actually done smelting and turns the whole system off, turns our minecarts off. So just like the chests turn on the system, which I don't think I showed you yet, I'll show you the switches and everything down here. We'll go check out the redstone, and then we'll check the output one as well, the off one. So we have we have an on switch and a off switch. So, okay, so this basically, that switch powers this redstone or unpowers it, whichever way. And we have a redstone torch with a redstone elevator here and a piece of redstone dust and a block. So what happens right now is this torch is lit up and it is powering this redstone, powering this repeater, powering this block, which turned off this redstone torch, because that's the way redstone torches work. If you power a block, the torch turns off, and then you can make a redstone elevator that way, up and down, redstone signal elevator. Not an actual like elevator, but I just call it a redstone elevator, and you guys can understand it's for the signal. So that's the way that works. So if we come over here and we have no power on here, right? And we turn this off, it's going to power this, which powers this block, shuts the torch off, shuts the redstone off, turns all that off, this torch turns back on, and then this system starts working properly, like it was designed. It's just an override to pull it back so we can get our minecart to be completely empty at the end of the smelting. So, I mean, you could even just let this on the whole entire time, but then your minecart's going to go back and forth, and it's not going to get more than about 6 items in it as it passes under here and goes back. So if you have like 9 or 10 furnaces in a row, you actually do need it to stop here and get more than the amount of furnaces you have, because it goes back up and back. So you need at least about a half a stack, I say, in this to go up and back properly and do even job distributing things. Because if you had it where it was just constantly going like this, and say we had 9 furnaces, well, there's only 5 slots in the minecart, and say it grabs, I don't know, 8 items, right? I think that's about what it grabs at this point here, about 8. I don't have any more cobblestone. we dumped it all in already, so I can't tell you how many it grabs. And then, yeah, say it grabs like 7 or 6 or 8 items. Well, it's just as soon as it passes over top of 6 hoppers going one way and back, it's nothing. You know, it's not going to dump any more items in, so it's not very efficient. So then that's why I have it stop, grab a whole entire stack, and then carry on, which is perfect. Because then at least it can go across 8 hoppers, 9, 10 furnaces, 12 furnaces probably, 12 and 12, 24. Yeah, probably could even go across a dozen furnaces, and it would still have items in it, and it would still distribute them fairly evenly, as long as it fills a full stack every time. So that's why the reason I have the minecart loader in here, and that's also the reason I have the override. So there we go. Okay, let's go downstairs. We'll check out some redstone here. So as soon as we have items in this chest or items in this shulker box, this gets powered on, which turns on this, our manual override for the furnace system. Just like that. We don't need it right now because the furnace is being powered by itself down there. This doesn't do anything with the on-off. This is just the minecart. That's it. This is the entire furnace system. Minecarts starts them going. And then this is just a sensing system, because my sensing system, the automatic off switch, doesn't have automatic on. Because if you were to come over here and put items in this chest, this minecart would fill up and start going. And the only way, or like without this, you put items in this chest, this minecart's going to fill right up and it's going to take off. But it'll make one pass completely and then it's going to stop at the end there on top of that rail. Because, let me think now. Yes, because there's no, well, you need a way to turn it on when you put stuff in the chest, because otherwise if you put say half a stack into this chest, or a full stack, I guess. Well, now I got to think about it. It's there for on anyway, so it senses when there's items in the chest when you dump them in there, or you dump them in the hopper, and turns on all our manual on-off switch to start the minecarts going, is how it works. Because if you were to put lava in here and fill these hoppers and fill that minecart, it's not going to send it out till you actually sense somewhere and power those blocks. Normally, guys just have switches on the side of the block and you turn it on. I made it all automatic, that at the moment you start filling, it turns on the minecarts. Now, the reason the minecarts are on right now, oops, I went up, not down, is we have some switches here. We have this is a loader, don't worry about that one. That's our output. This is a switch, and that is a switch. And both those switches power the minecarts. There's a repeater right there, and a block, and a powered rail, and you can see that the minecart comes in, hits the powered rail and block, and goes back the other way. And exactly the same on top there. There's another repeater right there with a block, and there's our minecart, but it's actually sitting there waiting for product to get loaded, because we've done all that already, and that's what this part is for. So what happens is once you put items in your chests up there, it will power these switches, push the redstone up, start the minecart, start the other minecart, and the items will filter into your minecart here, and then they will start smelting. So that's a good explanation for how this works. We have nothing here, because if I had a piece of glass here, this slime block would grab the glass and it would go up and down with it. So that's why I have just glass on the corners, like this. You could put red glazed terracotta like that for floor, because the terracotta does not get grabbed by a slime block. Slime block will actually slide up and down through terracotta blocks. So that's why the terracotta is there. And I've got it in a couple spots there as well. I did have it before. It was kind of funny that this was a regular block, and the block and the comparator, or the repeater would go down one block and it would come up one block. This is funny as ever, but I changed it so that the repeater just stayed there. Oh, there, now we can see our system shut off. Now that's all automatic. The reason it shut off is we have a comparator reading our furnace. Our furnace has come down to 3 items. So we'll grab 15 here and I'll show you how it works. So now that we have less than, it's 3 items or 4, I think. Above that, if we had a full stack of items, like we were smelting process was going on, just like it was before this shut off, this comparator lights up. Powers this redstone, powers these 2 repeaters. You have to have repeaters here so you don't power this block. And I think here too, well, whichever. And then I'll explain the item frame. And then it comes in here, powers this switch on the other side, and powers this switch from the other side. Because our manual on-off switch is right here. As soon as we flip the switch upstairs, this gets pushed down, and this starts this switch, and it starts this switch to start both our minecarts manually. And if you want to do it automatically, that's the reason I have the chest one. Now we can explain it. It's really hard to explain all the redstone circuits in here. So when we put our items in our minecart and stuff, and it starts going over here, it needs power, because at the end of the job, when it's empty, it's actually going to stop. It'll stop here where it is now. So that's not a big deal. But if it ever stops on top of there against that block, then it's going to need a bit of zip to get going down here to get loaded. But if it stops right here, that's not a big deal. It's right below the chest. You put a stack of items in, it starts. But if you have it, say, where you put your manual override completely on your switch so that the minecarts were constantly going, and this one, like this one, completely goes till it's empty. And say you didn't shut your manual override off till the furnace was empty like this, and this is off. So here I'll demonstrate. We'll go flip the switch here a second, and then you'll understand why we need both systems in here. So if we put our minecart on manual override, now you can see that furnace down there is done. It comes up here and stops like this and say, oh darn, we don't need this no more. Let's put her back in automatic mode. Now our piston's back out. This is an automatic mode to grab one full stack. But we have a problem. If we did not have this, and let's find some cobblestone here. Just give me 1 second. I think I have cobblestone in one of these. And I will demonstrate to you why we need both setups. I don't have cobblestone, honestly. Wow. Do I have stone? Oh, I do have 15. Okay, I have 15 cobblestone. So if we don't have the sensing system off the chest and off of here, and our minecart is now also not under our chest. So if we come over here and we put 15 items in here, guess what? We got nothing, right? Nothing. It's just going to sit here and do absolutely nothing. So we need a way to tell our furnace system, hey, we want to start now, let's get going. Now, that is why this redstone is here. And of course, shulker box sensing, hopper sensing for the shulker box, if you do it that way, just to start it faster. You could just leave it with just the chest. You didn't need the hopper sensor too. I put both in, but you only need one. To be honest, you need just one on the chest, and that's it. The reason I have a repeater right here is so I make sure you get a full strength of 15, that the signal travels all the way to here. Because if you put 15 items in here, and we get rid of the repeater, look how far our signal goes. 1. That's no good, right? So we put a repeater to make sure our signal is strong enough that it goes all the way over to here. So that's why there's a repeater there. And of course our chest is sensing. And now if we did put our redstone, look what happens. Our switch is energized here. Once our switch is energized, our minecart rail there gets power. And it gets sent off. And of course it grabbed this now and it shut this off. And we only had 15 items in there. So let's go look how many, if there's anything left in here. Okay, we had 15 items. Interesting. I wonder why it did that. Well, oh, right, I know why. Never mind. Our minecart is required to have a full stack, right? So we would have to put the manual override on, let it take off. There we go. And then it's going to go back and forth. Now there's not enough items in that furnace down there, I bet. If we can, depending how fast we run down there. And if we take the right one of these. One more. There's probably only like 1 or 2 items in there, right? Yeah, there's not even nothing anymore. They're all smelted already, all 15 of those, right? Because there's 5 pieces, so each one would only got 3. So it actually never would have powered this on. Wouldn't have gave us 5 items in here, right? So that's the reason why that is up there. That's so that shoots that minecart from its park position, like now. That's why the chest sensor is there, to actually start that. Because there is one down here as well. Like if we were to just come in here and put a half stack in here, this would automatically start and the minecarts would start. But if we didn't have this setup here, then yeah, that's how it works. So I have an item frame here with, I believe, a redstone signal of 1 or 2. Maybe it's 3, I'm not sure. I can't remember what the furnace put out for the lava bucket and the 3 or 5 items. I think it was 5. Whatever it is, I have that signal strength coming out of here. So it's either like 3 or something, or 4. I can't remember what the redstone output is on here. I would have to take this one out and put some redstone out and measure it in order to tell you. But that's the reason why we have all these extra systems here, like this one. that once this furnace is full enough, it sends a signal and then it shuts. This is basically our auto off, and that is auto on. But they both work together as well. Like you do need a required amount in here to keep the system running, or up top too, same thing. So it's kind of complicated. Takes a little bit of learning to get used to it. So, and then the last thing we're going to talk about is our output here on the bottom side. We haven't talked about that, any of it at all. So, but that's the furnace and on and off and automatics. And hopefully I talked about, hopefully I got it good enough. You guys understand that part. How his on off works and all our unloading spots and everything. So we're going to go, oh, we need to go down, sorry. So we'll come down here, and we're going to go around over to our furnaces. So these are our furnaces right here. This is our first one here. And we have a output here of hoppers, and we just have a hopper line all the way down and across and down into here. You could put 4 more here if you wanted. I just took them out and left placeholders in their place. So you just put 4 hoppers here just like this, 4 hoppers up top there, just like those ones. Where's my piece of glass here? There we go. Hoppers on top pointing down with rails on top, and hoppers on the side here pointing in with rails. And then minecart with hopper, and minecart with hopper up top. So that's how this works for the input side. It's really easy to just make it bigger, very easy. And your output as well. The way I did it is I had this actually different, that this came over here and went into this hopper, and I didn't like that. It just didn't work properly. I wanted to change it. So I put the output over here. Comes down into a hopper, into another hopper here. And it comes down here into a chest. Now we have a minecart with a hopper under this chest and an exact same loading setup, exact same as up top, with our sticky piston block, redstone torch, comparators, and all that good stuff, and a hopper with 2 stacks of items in it. So once this one is 2 stacks of items full, we'll take our buckets out. We have to fix that yet. Then it'll shoot off and go to the storage system and come back. So, because I needed a way for it to stop here and get loaded. So you could actually have a hopper line with, say, a chest minecart instead of a one like this, and it could collect from, say, 2 farms or 3. You just need to put a loader like this with a little step down. You have to have the down step with the detector rail here in order for it to work. You can't have it on flat ground, because that's what makes the minecart stop. Minecart can go this way, but minecart cannot go this way. So that's how that works. Like if we want to fire this, if we wanted to fire this off, we could just go like that, and that would fire it off. But now, say we go up here and used our nether wart farm, darn it, how do we get that minecart back there, right? So that's how this works, is the minecart's going to empty, and it'll actually pass under the block, and it'll keep going this way, and it's going to come all the way down to here, and it's going to grab the stuff out of here, which we're going to do right away. Don't worry about this, that's just an off button for this hopper. Shut off the nether wart farm hopper if I wanted to. Say our minecart's waiting right here. You could shut it off. Come in here, jump in the minecart, push the button, farm up the old nether wart. Missed one. Still missed one. There it is. Run our nether wart farm. If you have extra stuff there, just hit it one more time. And our minecarts will go here. There's a hopper line underneath them there, you see. And our end product is right here. And for this farm, you take a half of a stack. And that's the required amount of nether wart to replant it. I see our minecarts have shut up for some reason. Oops, wrong way. And we just replant quickly. I think this is my most fun farm. It has to be 4 tiles wide in order to sit in the minecart and not break these blocks with your pickaxe. The minecart puts you in the perfect spot to do all 4. Yep. If you had only 3 rows and you sat here with a minecart, you'd be smashing blocks on that wall. So that's the reason that it's like that. And I made it for half a stack because it's very easy to just come over here, full stack, grab half, put it down here. Oh, there's the required amount. And then you know when you're done using them and you're all planted your netherwort farm that you have no more netherwort. And it's easy to remember, half a stack. So that's kind of cool. Pardon me. So now that I shut that off so that I could grab, if I didn't have enough netherwort land on me when I'm minecarting there, you saw I only had like 27 or something. Then you have the ability to hold the items here to grab your half stacks. Because if our minecart loader was here, maybe it actually loaded all the items in it and took off before you had time to go, and you'd have to go all the way to the back to your storage system, and you would have to come back with some netherwort and replant it. So that's why there's an on-off switch for the hopper here. So now that we are done, I am actually going to turn this off, and our minecart should be still sitting there, or did it come by already? Oh, it came by already. Our minecart would have come up here, which I think we can actually get it to go that way. Yeah, see it. It was already back before we did that. Give it a little nudge. I can't hear it either, so that's what happens. So see, the minecart will stop here, and once it loaded everything, then it takes off. So now it's going to come back down here and sit down here. So that's how this works. You heard the pistons fire. I don't understand that part of it. This piston fires every time this thing fires for some reason, and I don't understand why. I don't know if it's block updates somewhere. Maybe I have to turn these 4 here into glass or something, so that the redstone signal doesn't travel through or something. I don't know why it does that. So I'm going to have to do some research. It doesn't hurt the farm or anything, so it's not a big deal. And you can see right now our system is off. This block of redstone is down, and so is that one. So our furnace system is actually off right now. But that's how the netherwort farm works as well. We have just an automatic switch that if you wanted to turn this on constantly so that those things are constantly going, you can. Or you can just have the push button switch like I used there. And that's our netherwort farm. This button is connected via redstone in there, and then a redstone underneath to a redstone torch here. And this redstone torch powers these 4 blocks when you push the button. It's the same concept as the redstone elevator I had over there. This is a redstone elevator from underneath. I believe I have redstone dust under those 4 blocks. There's our switch block over there, way over there, that block of stone, and then redstone, and then I think it comes down into here, and then redstone torch underneath, and then, yeah, I believe it's that way. I think that's how it works. Then this would turn on, power these 4 blocks, and send out the minecarts. So that's what, if you're wondering why there's a dead redstone torch, no, it's not burned out. It's just currently in the off position. Same concept as here with this redstone elevator, how this works. So yeah, that's how you get redstone signals to move up and down. It's a little complicated, but it can be done. And yeah, so that's our furnace unloader and netherwort farm unloader. And yeah, it's kind of neat how it's tied in together. That's pretty cool. You can use, I use the netherwort farm because I know that when I harvest my netherwort farm, I only get a stack and a half of items, roughly a stack and a half. So that's never enough items to actually fill the minecart and break the system. So you'll never have a problem with a netherwort farm or a small farm that has only like 1 or 2 stacks maximum of output. Because once you get more than 5 stacks in this thing from your netherwort farm, and that minecart comes over, if say there's 6 stacks, say you have 5 stacks in there and a stack in there, as soon as that minecart parks under there, it's going to break. Because whenever there's items in the hopper, it tells the minecart to stop. And then once those 5 items fill the minecart and the hopper is empty, it starts the minecart again. So you have to make sure that the hopper above your minecart with hopper has the ability to be completely empty if you want the minecart to get shot off. If you have a farm that produces 6 stacks at a time, you cannot use this system because there's 5 stacks in a hopper, and say you have 6, well, that's not enough to get it completely empty. There are other ways around to put safety systems in and all that, but I just use it because I know that I won't break it with a netherwort farm that produces a stack and a half. That's always going to get sent into the minecart and always fired off. unless you do something stupid and drop a couple of items in your something that makes it more than 6. So that's the reason why I use that loader over here, and that's how it works. Because it senses this. If we were to have a minecart with a chest, you could put a chest here and it would be different. Then you could have a whole 27 stacks of items instead of 5. But I just use a minecart with a hopper. It's faster. And then it could constantly run and do our stone or glass or whatever we're doing on the output side of the furnaces. So then they're tied together like that. And then we have a lava farm here, of course, for fuel, for an infinite source of fuel. And you just come along with a bucket, grab 5 buckets of lava. We can store them if we want. Whoops. Or we can come upstairs and we could put our lava in here. Or we could put our shulker box of lava, if we have a whole shulker box full, into here and into the system through our hoppers. So there we go. That's our furnace and our furnace setup. Let's just check, make sure our minecart's actually empty now. Now it has 5 items, see? So then, as you saw, that was that 15 we put in, which wasn't enough to fire up the system completely, and how it just made one quick short fire and that was it. You would have to just come over here, turn our furnaces on. Our manual override is it on or off now? Let me look. Our manual override is on, so this minecart will keep going and going and going. And we'll turn it off at the end here and see what happens. That is one way to do it. Turn the manual override off first till they get the minecart to park right there. Turn this off, and then then this will start the system. If you threw a whole stack in here, then that should be enough to put more than 5 items in the furnace to fire up the system that way. But it's going to go down once and come back and stop here. Completely stop. It will not bounce off this block and keep going. So actually, you couldn't do it that way. You have to have the sensing system on the chests to start our minecarts. Interesting. I'm gonna have to play with it and do some investigating in here. If one full stack is enough to start the system, long enough to dump 5 items in that hopper. We should actually go. Let's go grab 1 stack of cobblestone and do that test. We'll go down this way. Grab some cobblestone here. This is my storage system input. I got a minecart and chest that comes down here and puts items in storage. I have a great big item sorting system back in the back of the shop, back of the farm here. So I was just too lazy to go the long way around. We'll grab 2 stacks just for fun. And is it this way? Let's get lost in the place here. But yeah, so we'll grab 2 stacks of cobblestone. We'll make that test, because that would be a good thing to know. And especially for you guys, especially if you want to copy this design. So we could just come over here and we'll put 1 stack in. Now it automatically is going to fire and shoot off the minecart. Now let's see what happens. Yeah, see, now it stopped, eh? But was that enough to have all the items distributed? Let me think now. We may have to do something a little different here. Maybe. I don't know how we're going to have to do this. Yeah, that's a good question. I never experimented with it that way. Because the minecart with hopper grabs the items so fast out of this chest. We would have to come over here and turn our farm on. See there, now it's working. It sensed it had a full stack, but now we have less than a full stack. So you in order to do small quantities, you have to manually run this farm. Like that. Put both on manual, because it's not enough zip to power this up. Now you see it's powered here. There it is. There. Now we have 5. They just turned on. That means there's 5 items in that hopper, and we can come over here. And we could actually turn on the manual on. manual on and off, because now it's running automatically. It's the moment there's 5 items in that furnace. I should try and see if I could get it to 1 item. Maybe that's what I gotta do. Maybe I gotta switch it around so it's 1 item instead of 5. I'll have to experiment, because I will never get 5 items in that with 1 pass of a minecart. So that's why we have this manual button. So this is explaining how this system works. So it's a good thing that I'm showing you all this, because I'm also learning. Because this is basically the second time I've used it. First time I used it, I threw a whole bunch of cobblestone in, and it seemed to work. I thought, oh yeah, great, works perfect, let's go. I never tried small quantities like this, right? So now we could actually, should have turned that off, and that would have put the whole stack in here again. There, now we got a full stack. Just that minecart had a little bit left. But now you see again, it's going to sit here with 42 items because it's not full. So that's why this is here. That's an empty switch to make your minecart completely empty. Otherwise, it's not. Yeah, it's the way it works. I don't know. I could maybe incorporate an automatic thing into here. Maybe we could tie this into that somehow. I don't know how. No, you couldn't. Well, whatever. Well, I might have an update video coming out here on this system. And of course, we just wait a minute here. Where's our minecart? Oh, I missed. Okay, she's empty. And we'll stop it. And it's going to stop here and wait for more items. Now it'll either stop here or stop here depending on when you turn this off. If your furnace is empty and your redstone down there is not on, and then you turn this off, your minecart's going to be up here. So that's why we need the top sensing system to power this, to shoot it over to here to start grabbing your items. So just make sure that when you build this system, if you build a minecart loader like this, if you're doing small items, you could only put like a half stack in that hopper way over there. Then this thing wouldn't need a full stack, and then it would still work automatically. Like, I don't know, maybe even just 1 item in the hopper for the littlest amount would maybe give you something. It might only give you 5 though, so that's not really that good. You want at least a half a stack of items in here so that it distributes across the hoppers evenly. So that's why that minecart loader is there. It's complicated, because I never had that minecart loader in there, and I had the same system here, and the back 4 furnaces were actually getting nothing, no matter what, because the minecart just kept passing out of the chest. It would only grab about 6 items, and then keep going again. So I needed it to stop to have enough items to completely dump into all these hoppers every time. Now the one with the fuel doesn't matter, because it's 1 lava bucket. Big deal, you know, right? It can just pass underneath. You're not going to be using hundreds of buckets of lava, if you know what I mean. There, we've used a couple now. Every time our buckets get used, that happens. See there, our furnace I think is done now, and it just shut off. It shut our minecarts off. So we should be empty. And our minecart, or our furnace should be empty as well. So that's how the automatics work. Yep. Yep, all our furnaces are done, and that shuts this off. So we have, the reason that this is working is, yeah, we have an item frame with an item in it giving a redstone signal out. So I'll experiment later and see, maybe I can get this to start at 1 item instead of 5. So I'm not sure though. I'll have to do some research. Play with a furnace and some redstone out here. Put a furnace down, then just put a hopper underneath and a chest, and then just play with it by itself. I could do it in there too, I guess. Doesn't matter. I could use that one, I guess, to figure it out. So, all right, everybody. I believe that should be the whole automatic smelting furnace setup. It's a little complicated, but it does work very efficiently. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.